My name is Dantes Akram. I'm a 23-year-old entrepreneur from Cleveland, Ohio, father, hustler, two-time six-figure business owner, and as well as a seven-figure business owner. I own the #1 clothing brand server in the world, Limitless Investments. Come check us out.
YouTube, what up? It's your boy, The Real Tez. I'm here with my guy. This is my guy right here, yo. Like, he had the honor of we had the honor of coming out here on his yacht on a Monday in Miami and chilling with him and getting a chance to actually interview him and give you guys a chance to hear both of our dialogue and conversations with two successful people in the e-commerce space. So, Ayehxncho, bro, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, bro.
Yeah,
I'm doing good. And you know, the funny part about it is, you know, I view Tez as like a very close brother, and it's the first time I've seen him in person.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sure that we've equally both made each other a lot of money just through the conversations that we've had. And, you know, that's also a blessing to have, you know, that kind of, you know, network connection. And it's, you know, good finally see you too, bro, most definitely.
Man, so I wanted to talk about it because you just said something important. Like, this is our first time meeting each other in person, but we've made, like, I ain't gonna lie, bro, a couple of our conversations, I made a lot of money. I can't throw no numbers out, but I made a lot of money. And I want to ask you, like, living out in Miami and being a successful young person, like, how does like a normal day-to-day look for you?
Right. I think like a normal day-to-day is, I mean, I always say this for people who are looking to like move to Miami, looking for people to move to like a big city, the most important thing is like trying to keep balance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like the most important thing for me moving to Miami, moving to a big city was just literally keeping that balance.
Right.
So even though you have a whole bunch of nightlife, you have to be able to say, okay, not today. You know, I've already been out, you know, last week and the week before. So it's like keeping that balance. So every single day, first thing I do is I wake up. The sun wakes me up every single day at 9 a.m. Sometimes 8:30, depending on what, you know, when the sun rises. But then I don't check my phone. I just sit there and I kind of just like embrace the sun. You know what I mean? I just let it hit my face. And then I check my phone. The first thing I do is I check my bank account.
Right.
I check my bank account. And then I take a shower, get refreshed. Cold showers only in the morning. What that does is it kind of just rejuvenates me. It also slows down your heart rate, so stress is out the window. So going forward into like kind of like if it is an aggressive day, I just have kind of like a clear, you know, thought process going out the rest of the day. And then I go straight to the gym. After the gym, that's when I start my actual work schedule.
Right.
So my work schedule starts at 12:30 and then it goes no later than 4:30. So I always stop work at 4:30.
Gotcha.
And then the rest of that day is kind of like decompressing, eating, and just like kind of like preparing for the next day.
Now, I've like personally, like I recently moved from Cleveland to Atlanta, and I personally felt like making a move to a bigger city or getting out of my comfort zone, that little box that we normally used to like growing up in, has changed absolutely everything about my life. Okay. Now for you, like especially again being young in Miami, how do you find that balance? Like there's a lot of young people out here that want to network, they want to obviously be more in business and be around other people like ourselves. But like how do you find that balance with not getting too caught up in the nightlife, but also still having time for business and then making sure you're networking with people who are not going to be caught up in the nightlife as well?
100%. I think it's all just kind of like knowing the reason why you're going out there. Like that's the main reason. Like if you go out to a certain place to do a certain thing, that's most likely what you're gonna end up doing.
Right.
So in my mindset, I was like, I'm coming out here to get a bigger bag. That's my main priority. So when I moved out here, that's what I set my full attention out on. When people move to Miami, a lot of the times they're like, I'm moving out here because I want to have like a party life. I want to have a fun life. So that's what you're going to get trapped in.
Right.
All right, you're going to get trapped in that party life, and at the end of the day, it's going to end up consuming you.
Absolutely.
So if I moved out here to get a bigger bag, that's what's going to consume me. If you go out here to bullshit, that's what's going to consume you. So I feel like, you know, the more attention you put into something, you know, the universe has a way of giving it back to you.
Absolutely.
So if I'm constantly looking for connections, if I'm constantly on my grind, not even on my grind, if I'm constantly just looking for new opportunities, and those opportunities are going to find me. Whereas if I'm just, you know, out here doing whatever I want to do, kind of just like freewheeling it out here, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's hard to maintain out here.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to get by out here, but it's really hard to maintain. A lot of the people who move to Miami to move to big cities, like you won't see them out here for more than 2-3 years, bro.
Right, facts.
Because after those 2-3 years, they've done blew all their bag already, and now they have to go back to their moms or back to a smaller city.
Absolutely.
But it's like, if you want to maintain, you have to have that balance. And, you know, the people who you surround yourself with is very, very important. A lot of people out here, you know, they know me for my business. So it's like they wouldn't even bother to ask me, hey, you know, you want to go to the club? Because they already know this dude is about his business.
Right.
So it's also like the first impressions that you give off to people.
Yeah.
Like you don't want your first impression to people to be like, oh, I like to party, because that's all they're gonna hit you up for. But if you're like, well, this is what I do, this is how I make my money, this is what I'm mainly focused on,
Right.
then that's what's also gonna start to attract.
And that's the key part, is like who you surround yourself around. Because I feel like people move to big cities and they try to find their clique, which is normally the first thing that you do when you move to a bigger city. You try to find a clique where you can like, I want these people to be doing better than me. And if you're not thinking that when you first move somewhere, you need to be thinking that. You need to be around people who are all doing bigger things than you, right? Like I'm pretty sure both of us have a connect in every single niche: real estate, crypto, stocks, like every single niche, right? And I feel like a lot of people are trying to do that as well, but they can't really find that balance, right? Now, the next thing I want to talk about, because I don't think I've ever talked about it on any of my content, but like, what are some of your favorite ways to network?
Most definitely. Well, some of my most favorite ways to network is, but before I even get into that, I like what you just said about like the kind of like the friend group clip, because they say that you are the average of the 5 closest people around you. So you're about the average of your 5 closest friends. So if like your 5 closest friends are a bunch of nobodies, you're the average of those nobodies. But if like your 5 closest friends are a bunch of millionaires or people who think like millionaires, then you're the average of those people. So, when I've found connections in the gym. You know what I mean? I found like one of my biggest connections that made me a lot of money inside the gym, just like simply talking to the guy. So I feel like surrounding yourself in an environment where it's just easy to attract is also a big part of it too. Because like a lot of people would say, well, I like to go to networking events and I like to go to places, and you're searching for these opportunities, which is great. But also if you live in a place where there's opportunities that are coming to you, you don't really have to search that much. So it's like the building that I live in, the lowest rent is $5,500 a month, and that's for a 1-1. You know what I mean? And so it's like, even if you want to live in that building, you have to pay $5,000. Like everybody in there is doing something. So you could literally run into somebody who's doing huge things, and everybody knows you're doing on a steady pace too, because you're just simply living there. So I feel like just living in a situation where, is just surrounded by this. It's like the aura of it. It's just, I feel like it's a completely different aura where you're living in somewhere where it's just thriving with success, and then you're living with somewhere where you have to kind of go out and scour for opportunities, because those opportunities start to, attract to you. And that's one of the main reasons why I even moved to, Miami, is to meet a lot of those connections. When I first started coming out here, I was just coming out for like a day or two, just staying at nice places, just, renting out cars. And it was hard for me to find connections, but just the fact that I was here in the aroma of just seeing Lamborghinis everywhere I'm from, I didn't see not one Lamborghini in my entire life on the road. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now when you come somewhere like here, it's like everywhere you look around is a goddamn Lamborghini. And it's like, it motivates you, bro, because when you look inside the car, it's like a fucking 20-year-old kid, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, it motivates you. And again, it's just like being around that environment is gonna push you forward. Absolutely. Doesn't matter the situation.
Bro, even being out here motivated me. Like, I know me moving to Atlanta, even just seeing stuff like this, like we outside, people on the boats and they chilling and like, hey, they lit. Yeah, no, that's the crazy part. Like that motivates me, being on the water, because I'm not really used to being on the water and stuff like that. But moving to Atlanta and being around a lot more millionaires, because when I was coming from Cleveland, I felt like nobody was thinking bigger than me, right? And I always tell people, like, you gotta remain a dreamer, like a person who never loses out on their dreams or what they think and their ideas. Because at the end of the day, the people you're around right now, like you said, you're some of your 5 closest friends. But the thing is they all lost out on their dreams. They don't believe no more. Now, the only reason we in the positions that we in is because we believe more than anybody else could possibly fathom, right? Now, again, back to what I was talking about, like living in Miami, faster life, obviously friends where you're gonna have to learn how to cut some off and obviously learn how to like, balance certain friends in certain times, right? How has the gym been able to like help you with that balance? Because I feel like as a lot of entrepreneurs out there, or even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you're just a person who works a regular 9 to 5, we don't throw no shade nowhere, right? A lot of people just miss out on that gym factor. And the gym has personally changed everything for me. So can you talk a little bit about how the importance of going to the gym has been for you?
Most definitely. I mean, like going to the gym, if I'm keeping it real with you guys, like everybody who's watching this, I like to keep it real with everybody. Look, I don't like going to the gym, and I'm gonna just say it straight. Like going to the gym, if somebody says they like going to the gym, so maybe some people do, but if we're being real with ourselves, going to the gym includes pain. It includes struggle. You're literally tearing your muscles so that they can get bigger and stronger. It hurts. You have to wake up, take pre-workout, go. You have to get pumped. You know what I mean? Facts. But when you do go and you're in that mode, it's like all of that goes out the window. And I view going to the gym and starting a business like one and the same.
Right.
Like everybody wants to see results in the gym as soon as possible.
Facts.
Like literally, like you go to the gym, you don't see results for a month, and then you stop.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in business. You start up your business, you don't see results for a month, and then you stop. But what about if it takes you a year to see those results? What about if it takes you 2 years to see those gains? When you look at the biggest people and the most strongest people, they didn't go to the gym for a month. They went to the gym for 10 years, right?
Facts.
So if your goal is you want to put on 10 pounds of weight, be like, I want to put on 10 pounds of weight in the next 5 years. So that when you start putting on a pound, it seems like nothing in retrospect to what your bigger goals are.
Absolutely.
So if in my business, I set my goals for 100 million in 10 years, when I make 10 million, it feels like nothing because my mindset is stuck at 100 million.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing, it's the exact same thing in the gym. If I say I want to hit 180 pounds, but I'm like, I set many increments in between because I know that it's gonna take some time to hit 180 pounds, that will keep me more motivated than just going there for a month with having no goals outlined.
Exactly.
So going to the gym also keeps you super, super disciplined. Like if you go to the gym first thing in the morning, I feel like if you go to the gym every single day, you can discipline yourself to make 100K.
Absolutely.
It's one and the same. So like that's just like a couple of things that's helped me with the gym. But I mean, there's multiple different benefits. I mean, the testosterone boost, you know, the dopamine effects, it's a lot of different things.
Bro, the one thing you just said that really stuck with me is the fact that if you can discipline yourself to go to the gym, you can discipline yourself to make 100K. It's literally synonymous. There's the same exact thing. You have to be comfortable with doing the same thing over and over and over again, even the times where you don't want to do it. Because like you said, it's not like we actually want to wake up at 5, 6, 7 in the morning and like, yeah, I want to go to the gym and I'm so happy. That's not something that's fun, but at the end of the day, we know what the outcome could be if we keep doing it over and over without giving up. And I heard Ayehxncho talk about this as well. He said, you know, real success is being able to go from failure to failure without losing, you know, any like motivation or losing a smile on your face, right? And I was like, damn, that's crazy because a lot of entrepreneurs right now, they're in that microwave mindset. They want it instant. I want to start this business. I want to start like get this up off the ground. So can you talk a little bit about patience? Like for you, obviously it took time for both of us to get to where we are. So can you talk a little bit about patience and delaying gratification?
100%. I mean, like, you have to be able to see past your current situation. You know what I mean? Like, patience is a virtue, but it's also like being able to see like past your current situation. A lot of people, they all have the same shit. Like, I grew up in the hood. My mom was this. My mom was. I guarantee if I told you my sad story, it might be, if not worse than your sad story. But the difference is, did I let that sad story dictate my future, or was I able to see past the situation and continue to keep going? Right. So it's like, if you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of money, you have to keep that, again, that dream, like you say, you have to be able to keep that dream alive, that in the next 5, 10 years, you'll be able to make a lot of money, because most people in their 72 years of living don't even make $1 million. So even if you make $1 million, but it takes you 5 years, you're still doing better than 99% of the rest of the people on this earth. So it's just like, if you're able to keep that in the back of your head saying, okay, I don't have it right now, but if I'm able to just delay gratification for the next 3, 4, 5 years, you know, not party every single day, not smoke every single day, not drink every single day, you know, kind of withhold from what I want to do and just grind, then I'll get there eventually. Then I feel like success is literally inevitable.
I agree. I mean, I can personally say that the majority of people right now are caught up in the matrix.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody wants to do what the government is telling them to do. Everybody wants to do what social media is telling you to do, but nobody's thinking for themselves. And I always tell people, like, at the end of the day, if you ever wanted to get somewhere far, you have to be able to think outside the box. Like, you can't do what everybody else is doing. You can't act the same way that everybody else is acting. And the thing is again, we are in a time right now going into 2023. We got recession talks and things like that. I personally believe we've been in a recession this whole time. It's just a mindset thing, right? But what's even crazier is that people are still not learning from the past experiences that they've had. So when we talk about delaying gratification and not buying this Benz because it looks good on Instagram, or not going out and popping bottles and showing everybody that you popping bottles just so you can look like you got it going on, when I say these types of things, people are like, nah, bro, you don't really know what you're talking about. We've done it. Like, we've put years in the hole before we bought any nice cars, before we can wear with the type of stuff we're wearing, or even chill on your boat. You know what I'm saying? And it just goes to show the level of patience that we have. Because in the end of the day, we could have rushed in the beginning as soon as we made that first 100K, as soon as we made that first 200K. But no, we waited and we invested into things that are going to go and appreciate over time. So can you talk a little bit about some of your favorite asset classes, and maybe give a couple of people, actually no, scratch that. We'll ask that next. But I actually want to know, I want to give people real game, right? What will be your top 3 step-by-step tips for somebody to go from broke to, all right, I got a little bit of money and I can actually survive throughout 2023?
Right. So like if you're broke right now and you're trying to make money in 2023, like the most important thing you have to know is that you have to learn a high value skill or a high income skill, right? So what is a high income skill? Something that's going to pay you whilst you are sleeping. That is all a high income skill is. Warren Buffett said if you cannot make money whilst you sleep, inevitably, he didn't say you might, inevitable, you will work until you die. So you have to find a mechanism that's going to be able to make you money whilst you sleep. So let's go through some. You got e-commerce, of course, because people are going to be buying 24/7. You have stocks because the stock market works 24/7. You have crypto works 24/7. You have mutual funds. You have a whole bunch of different things that can make you money whilst you sleep. The difference between an entrepreneur and a 9-to-5 worker is one thing. Doesn't matter if you're making $1 million at your corporate job, your money stops after 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. As an entrepreneur, you dictate how much money you make by the amount of knowledge you know and the amount of skills that you've been able to acquire. So once you have put that money into learning skills and you've gone broke in investing in yourself and you start to see that return, now you have to start diversifying your portfolio a little bit. You can't be relying on one stream of income. Doesn't matter what you do. You have a pretty, nice investing portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you a stock trader though?
No.
But you have that because you know the benefits. You also have a pretty nice crypto portfolio. You have that even though you're not a crypto trader, you have that because, again, these are assets that you need. It says the average millionaire has about 7 streams of income. Now, that doesn't mean you have to come out the gate with 7 streams of income. Of course, you have that one stream of income that makes you the most, but those other stream of income just balances things out if your main stream of income isn't doing well. You see, the problem is that 9-to-5, when you're stuck in that kind of 9-to-5 way of living, you're solely dependent on one stream of income.
Yeah.
So when your job cuts you off because there is a recession coming or simply because they don't like you or simply because they have to make cuts, you know what I mean? They didn't meet their margins for the year and they have to cut you.
Yeah.
I was talking to this one guy and he was looking to buy a service up from me and I was like, what do you do for a living? He was like, right now I'm unemployed. I said, what did you used to do? He said, I used to be, he used to work in, biotechnician. He was like, I love my job so much. And then out of the blue, they fired me. I gave my entire life to this company. I dedicated all my hours to this company. And with the snap of the fingers, they gave me no reason, but they fired me. You know why? It's because you're a number in that system. You're the number in the system. They don't care what they have to do. They'll replace you. They don't have to give you an answer. That's the reason why you have to find a way to make money for yourself. And the more ways you have to make money for yourself, the more sustainable you're going to be. Because at the end of the day, the system doesn't care if they let you go and you have 5 kids and you're going to be on the street in the next week. You have to make a living for yourself.
Absolutely. And that's a part of the matrix. Like you said, they don't care about you. And that's the thing. Why would you? I think people confuse things. Like when we talk about people who work 9-to-5s and are employees, look, we're not throwing shade on you. It's just a simple fact that there's a closed off way of thinking that you have where you feel like you can only make money from 9-to-5 when in reality your dreams come true between 5 to 9.
Yes.
So if you're never actually pursuing your dreams, if you're never actually putting time into learning those different asset classes like e-commerce, or not even just that, real estate, you got all of these different things that you can do and invest your money into, but everything is a scam to a person who has never been creative enough to come up with things for themselves. And that's why I always tell people, get around other people who think like us. And even if you don't, we actually had this conversation recently with a couple friends, and I'm like, yo, the power of our communities, because you have a community as well on Discord. I personally have one, Limitless Investments, and there's a bunch of other communities. And I never throw shade to nobody else's community.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I just tell people to get into one of them. But the real benefit, we had this conversation for the first time, is that if you're stuck in an environment where you feel like you can't change your surroundings, you can't change your friend group, well, now your getaway can now be one of these communities that we provide. Exactly. So now when people ask us, well, why do we charge monthly for the things that we have? First off, it's an asset to even be in there to think amongst all these people who are already doing what you're trying to do. Exactly. But second, you're trying to get away from what you've already been accustomed to. So the people you've been around, they're still not in the level you want to be in, and you're still not in the level you want to be in. So why are you still staying in that situation? So that's why I always tell people, get in these communities, get around people who actually think a little bit better. And like you said, high income skills is the thing that you want to learn, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is the second part of what you would tell somebody to go from just kind of broke to still trying to make it, or even if they just got cut from their job, how can they get themselves back up on their feet throughout 2023?
Yeah. I mean, first you have to realize the risk in everything. A lot of people say there's risk. Well, isn't there risk with keeping your money in the bank? You know what I mean? The simple steps is becoming financially literate, taking your money out of the bank and then putting it into, a high yielding account, maybe like a mutual fund. It just starts off with the little things. If you want to become more disciplined, you start off with making your bed, just little things to increment into big things. Absolutely. So learning just a little bit about financial literacy in the start. right? So just watching YouTube videos, joining the communities, just, you know, becoming accustomed to there is another way than what I was previously taught.
Absolutely.
And now after you learn that, you have to like know a lot more. So a big way how people make money, let me say it like this, right? Like a way that nobody really knows. Like I want to talk about this one real quick, right? Andrew Tate, let me just say this, right? A lot of people ask, how does he make all this money? How does he make tens of millions of dollars a month? Right? Andrew Tate makes about $10+ million a month right now, just off affiliate marketing alone. And people don't even know what affiliate marketing is. He doesn't even own an Instagram, but you can't go 10 scrolls without seeing his face. And the same method that he uses to make tens of millions of dollars a month is the same method you literally can be using. It's the same method that I use. I'm sure it's the same method that you use, affiliate marketing, right? This is where you pay influencers or pay people to promote your product and then it goes viral online. It doesn't matter if you're selling a service or you're selling a product. This is a pretty much free way to get money. He doesn't pay these people, he pays them off a commission. So that means that anytime somebody joins his community or anytime somebody purchases his services, they get paid a commission. This is just a simple way where you can start making yourself an asset to other people. This is the way you can start making money. So it's just like, you don't have to have a ton of money in order to make money. There's a ton of different ways. And even just like looking at ultra successful people and studying their methods, you can see that, what is he doing? I feel like a lot of people are stuck in the same situations because they don't ask enough questions. It's just like they look at people and they're like, oh, what did he do? He probably sold drugs, scam. He probably got it, you know, his daddy's money, mommy's money. They question it, but they don't, you know, they don't want to come to the reality that this dude is doing something that people are scared to do, something that's different, right? So first you have to become financially literate. Once you become financially literate, then you can start to learn like the ins and outs. I'm talking about the tax code. You can start learning about credit. And that's how you really acquire wealth. Like that conversation we're having, it's like we make a shit ton of money in e-commerce, but I didn't own a building. You know what I mean? I didn't own a building. You know, I bought a building off of a conversation. You know what I mean? And now that building's gonna be not only generating me passive income, but it's also, you know, I own the soil, I own the dirt. It's an appreciation value. That's off of one conversation. I didn't know that before I had the conversation, but I had to be a student. You first have to become a student. Even if your friend knows something more than you, have to become a student. You have to be able to listen. You have to be open to ideas. You can't just question and say everything's a scam. Because if we didn't have, I could have said, well, that's a scam. Buying an apartment building is a scam. But if I didn't listen, I wouldn't have been put in a position that I am right now to own an asset like that.
Can we actually briefly talk about that? Because it was crazy how quickly you implemented it, right? So like we literally jumped on the phone and we normally talk for like more than an hour every time, right? Like this is like my mother's kid, right? Like I treat him just like it, right? And when we jumped on that phone, you were talking about how you just bought, I think it was either like a watch or it was a car. It was a Lambo, right? And I'm like, man, like you got hella cars. And I ain't gonna never not congratulate my guys, but I'm also like, bro, you need an asset, like a building or something like. And I was like, yo, imagine a type of flex where you can pull up and your last name is on that building. Now, how valuable is that? And then the tax benefits and all of the different things that we talked about. And then literally, not even 30 days later, I see him posting, I just bought a 31 unit complex or something like that. I'm like, off of one conversation. So can you talk a little bit about that journey of actually, you know, buying the cars and having the stuff, but now saying, all right, I need something that's more concrete that my kids can have when I'm gone?
Absolutely. I mean, I used to be that kind of person who also used to be like, oh, well, buying a Lamborghini is cool because it's an asset. When all actuality, there's so much better assets than spending $300,000 on a car. So it was like after I have 3 Lamborghinis. It's like I don't need any more Lamborghinis. I have a lot of liquid capital that I was ready to invest. I was actually about to buy a McLaren with that money before that conversation. So it's like, instead of buying more cars and instead of buying more yachts and a bunch of stuff that, they're assets, but they don't hold as much appreciation value in the future. You know, I went ahead and made, again, the biggest investment so far to date. I spent $1.6 million of my own capital for a 31 unit in Houston. The actual building was $2.9 million. And I'm gonna put $25,000 in equity, what I already have. For renovations because it was pretty new, so it's not like I needed much. My mortgage is 15 grand a month. It's already cash flown, $29,000 a month right now, and guess what? It has 12 vacancies right now.
Damn, that's crazy.
The crazy thing about it is that next year I'm gonna raise the rent about $75 to $100. I'm gonna take it to the bank, get a reevaluation, and if I want to, I can pull out that equity and then buy my toys like a Lamborghini. You know, that's the conversation that we had.
Conversation. Now, look, again, this is why you need to tap in. Like, if people aren't understanding these different things about asset classes and even equity, buying these buildings, the tax breaks that you're gonna get from buying that building, and then they don't even understand the valuation you're gonna have on that building after you raise the prices and after more people get into those vacant units. So, bro, I wanted to personally tell you on camera, I'm extremely proud of you, bro.
That,
like, real quick, let them know how old you are, real quick.
21 years old.
Like,
about to be 22 though.
Look, we actually both of our birthdays is coming up, so that's crazy.
Thanks.
But at the end of the day, bro, it's inspiring to not only get a chance to be such close friends with somebody who's doing huge things, but to be able to jump on the phone and say, yo, throw you an idea, you throw me an idea, and then we immediately execute on it. And now, you know, 5-10 years from now, when our kids are grown and they're bigger, they can be out there growing or having fun on their buildings, on their property where their last name is. So I feel like that was extremely valuable. But man, I enjoyed the conversation today. I feel like there was a bunch of different gems and information that y'all can utilize, but you can't utilize any of it if you're just in analysis paralysis, where you just consume, like you're a sponge. You just want to keep consuming, but you're never actually wringing it out to actually use it, right? So I strongly urge you guys to tap in with my guy, Ayehxncho. Real quick, can you plug all of your social media and everything where they can find you?
Most definitely. It's Ayehxncho on Instagram, Ayehxncho on Twitter, Ayehxncho on TikTok, and Ayehxncho on YouTube.
So guys, I will have all of that stuff in the description right now. Make sure you guys share this. Make sure you guys go ahead and leave a like and subscribe as well. And then also shout out to our sponsor, Limitless Investments, for being the #1 clothing brand Discord server in the world and sponsoring this video inside of here, all right? So with that all being said, make sure you guys leave that subscribe. Make sure you guys go tap in and go share this with a friend. Yo, it's been your boys and we out. My dog, appreciate it.
Most definitely.